Philippines is actually one of the best places you can study marine engineering or maritime transport.
Hi lovelies, welcome back again to another video. If it is your first time of coming across this channel, my name is Ruth, final year student nurse currently living and studying here in the Philippines, and you are most welcome to Nurse with Nook. For my old subscribers, thank you guys so much for always clicking in today's video, we have a special guest in our channel. I'll just allow him to introduce himself. So Mister, can you do us the honor of introducing yourself?
Hello viewers, nice being with you. I am Stanley Yeloka by name. I'm a student of Philippine Institute of Maritime Studies and Technology. Presently in my final year, studying marine engineering. Actually my second degree here in the Philippines.
And you are welcome to Nurse with Nook. So lovelies, I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Stanley. If you are interested in hearing all the juicy questions I'm going to be asking him, please do well to keep on watching. Welcome back lovelies. So without wasting your time, let's dive right into the video. So Mr. Stanley, may we know why, of all countries in the world, why you chose Philippines as your place of study?
Well, Philippines is a destination for anyone who loves the maritime industry because in the seafaring world, most of the seafarers on board the ship are Filipinos, and in so doing, most of their captains of the vessels are Filipinos, and studying in their country gives you an advantage when looking for work because they are going to consider you because you studied in their country. And also, Philippines is being known in the maritime industry for the waves they have made in the industry and how good they are. So that's why we come here to study marine, the maritime courses and other courses here. So,
from what you just said, Mr. Stanley, are you trying to tell us that Philippines is the best place one can go for marine engineering?
Yeah, Philippines is actually one of the best places you can study marine engineering or maritime transport, depending on the name of the course the school calls it, because the Philippines is being known worldwide when it comes to the maritime industry, and their certificate is highly recognized and is of standard and can be used anywhere in the world.
Okay, what about in Nigeria? Is their certificate well recognized back home in Nigeria?
Well, I won't say it's not recognized back home, but there are some standard and some certification and some license which you cannot do in Nigeria, which you can do over here, and those limitations can actually bring some things under. By, for example, like in the Maritime Academy of Nigeria where I studied before coming to the Philippines, before we did not have a stimulator, and things like this matters a lot. Although now there's a stimulator in the school now, but by then there was no stimulator. So, and without some machines like this and some equipment like this, the school cannot be accredited as a world maritime school. So therefore, those limitations are some of the reasons why we leave Nigeria to countries like the Philippines to study the maritime courses.
Are you saying there are some limitations in Nigeria which gives you more advantage here in the Philippines as a student, marine student?
Yeah, there's a lot of advantage. Studying here, there are a lot of certificates which you're entitled to, which you might not be entitled to in Nigeria. And even if you are entitled to such certificates, it's not going to be maybe it's going to be a substandard one, probably not a modernized edition of that certificate. So here is a kind of like upgrade. Most times the upgrade of such certificate comes to Nigeria a little bit late. So doing it here gives you like one step ahead of your colleagues back home.
Oh, so doing it here in the Philippines gives you more step ahead than those doing it in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Can you tell us who told you first about the Philippines? How did you know about the Philippines?
Well, as for the Philippines, when I was studying at Maritime Academy of Nigeria, most times the oil companies like Nimasa, which is in charge of the maritime industry in Nigeria, LNG, Mobil, and some other oil companies. Sometimes they come to the school and set exams for students, the best. Once you pass and you pass the interview, you'll be sent outside the countries. And one of the countries they sent the students to were Philippines. So that gave us a kind of understanding to say, okay, since this company sent the debt to Philippines, that means the Philippines should be a good destination for somebody who is pursuing a career path in the maritime industry.
So that was how you knew about the Philippines?
Yeah, that's how I knew about the Philippines.
Okay. So coming to the Philippines, are there any regrets or was your expectation cut short?
Well, concerning my education, my expectation was not cut short because I already know what I was coming for and I already know what was waiting for me. And in terms of other things, the Philippines is still a developing country, no doubt. In terms of other things, there might be some regret, no doubt, but because I came actually because of studies, I would say I have no regret because I have achieved my aim of coming here, which is to be a graduate of marine engineering.
So when you told your parents about your intention of coming to the Philippines, was there any objection from maybe your parents, your relations, or anybody?
I won't say there was an objection, but we're just trying to be careful because of maybe scam or maybe making the wrong decision. But my parents, being well learned, understand the fact that Philippines can actually boost my career. So there were not really much objection. We're just only trying to be careful.
You said this is your second degree. That's marine is your second degree.
Yeah.
So what was your first degree?
Yeah, my first degree was oceanography.
Oceanography.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you study that?
Maritime Academy of Nigeria.
Where is that? Maritime?
Yeah, around Akwa Ibom State.
Akwa Ibom. How many years course?
It's a 4 years course. Initially, when I was doing it, they were still operating as with MD and HND, but presently now the school has been credited as BSc.
Oh. Okay. In choosing Philippines, why did you not choose a more developed country like Europe, maybe America, or any more developed country? Why Philippines?
Actually, the Philippines is affordable to live. When moving to a country, you have to check the standard of living. So Philippines is affordable for anyone. And it's also good in my career. It's also good in my career, and it's affordable. So there are still other countries in Europe which are also very good in the maritime industry, but you have to check the cost and the standard of living. So the Philippines happens to be good for my career path and also happens to have a good standard of living which you can live according to your own source and income.
Yeah, that's really true. In Philippines you can manage. It's a place that no matter what, if you're an average Nigerian, for example, let me just put it like that, you can live well in the Philippines. And Philippines is also a place if you can afford the private universities in Nigeria, that means you can live well in the Philippines. So for me, I think what one may want to get in a more developed country, you can also get it in Philippines. And Philippines sometimes is not really what people think it is. Because sometimes people will tell you, like when I wanted coming to the Philippines, there were some that told me, why Philippines? Why do you want to go to the Philippines? Knowing that it's a developing country and all of that. And sometimes what you see online, like the way they put Philippines on the internet, is not really what one see coming to the Philippines. I think it's more to what we read online.
It's not what we read online because the Philippines is actually trying in their infrastructural development, and steady lights, good road, security, and it's a developing country. But I can speak well and I can be proud of the country. They are doing well.
Yeah. So in Nigeria, the marine engineering you have in Nigeria, how will you rate it? Why didn't you go to the one you have in Nigeria? Why did you choose the Philippines?
Well, I won't say the one in Nigeria is bad, but we all know, as the place we are coming from, we know sometimes getting certificate outside of the country can give you an advantage. And not only that, as at the time I was schooling, the school was not yet university, so I had to pursue the dreams of getting a BSc outside of the country. But I won't say it's bad, because most people who studied there are also doing very well in the maritime industry. We have captains, chief engineer who graduated from Maritime Academy, even masters marina. So the school is of high standard. There's no doubt about that. We just trying to upgrade the school to probably to meet up the qualifications for a world standard maritime university.
Okay. You have stayed in the Philippines for how many years now?
I'll say 4 years now.
Okay, for 4 years. So the teaching method in the Philippines, how would you rate it?
Well, the teaching method in the Philippines makes it easier for someone to be able to learn, because, for example, in the Philippines, you write maybe 3 or 4 exams in a semester. We call it prelim, midterm, maybe semi-finals or finals, which kind of make it easier for you. Maybe after a month to write exam, unlike back home where you write the semester exam maybe after 5 months, which can be a little bit difficult. And one thing I also noticed here is they encourage more of practicals. Practicals is being taken seriously, unlike back home where most times they based on the theoretical aspect of teaching.
Oh, that's also a credit. Marine course in the Philippines is how many years?
Well, marine course in the Philippines is 3 years, but due to maybe the upgrade of syllabus, it could be 4 years from now.
Okay, but basically now, how many years?
Basically it's just 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
So after the 3 years, what else?
Well, after the 3 years, you are required to go for a mandatory 1 year on board the ship for your training before you can be qualified to get your certificate as a marine engineer.
Wow. And one good thing about you mariners, of recent, is it really of recent? Let me say about 2 to 3 years now. One good thing about the mariners now, you are allowed to take the board exam here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Unlike us, the nurses or student nurse rather, we are not allowed to take board here yet. Once we are done, you are required to go back home for your board exam. But mariners, they just upgrade. Can you tell us more about that? They are allowed to take their board exam here in the Philippines.
So once you are done with your 1 year on board the ship and you come back and get your certificate, you are allowed to write your board exams after probably a 4 months course training. You are allowed to write your board exams in the Philippines, which is an upgrade. Which is an upgrade to you.
Wow. So for you mariners now, you either take the board here in Philippines or you can go back to Nigeria to take it. Anywhere you want to, you can take your board exam.
Yeah, of course you can take it anywhere you want to. Yeah.
That's a big credit to mariners, I wish they will allow us student nurses to start taking our board here in the Philippines. I'll be super excited. You guys are really lucky to be taking your board exam here. Saves you a lot of stress. It's also a plus to marine engineers, What culture shock did you experience here in the Philippines?
Well, I think the Philippines is a friendly country, except the ones that are not exposed, but most of the Filipinos who are exposed are friendly. I think they love, when you're a foreigner, they love to help you, they love to ask you questions, they love to know more about you. I won't really say there's more of a culture shock because they are not really a kind of country that really display most of their culture or tradition. It's more of like I think just a kind of normal people, just have their normal way of life, Yes, I might experience 1 or 2 things like maybe the dressing, the cross dressing, which is not only in Philippines. I'll say that to be one of the culture shock I got here in the Philippines.
So what was your first impression of the Philippines?
Well, my first impression landing at the airport, I saw a friendly people, always smiling, nice, jovial, love to ask many questions, yeah, that's what I can say.
Okay. So for tuition for marine engineering, how would you rate the tuition fee here in the Philippines?
Well,
for foreigners,
it depends on the school you are going. There are many schools here in the Philippines, and since the Philippines is a maritime country, you do not expect the tuition fee for the maritime courses to be high, because there are many schools who are offering that course. So the tuition fee is affordable. It also depends on your location. If you are staying in the province, it can be cheaper. If you are staying in the capital, it can be more expensive. Sometimes depending on the number of courses you take in a semester
and the units
too. So, but mostly it depends on the school, depends on where you are. In some places you can also pay 1 million naira. In some places you can pay 250. So it all depends on the location and the school.
Location. That's true. Studying marine here, was there any difficulty you faced studying marine engineering here?
Well, if I say there's no difficulty, I must be lying, because first of all you have to overcome the language barrier. Although they have two common language in the Philippines, which is the Tagalog and English, and the both languages are being used in school. So in your first semester or first year, you are going to have a little bit difficulty, because sometimes the instructor or lecturer will be sometimes communicating in both languages, so you may have some difficulty. But as time goes on, you will be able to understand the language, maybe not exactly, but whenever they speak, you'll be able to assimilate and understand what the instructor is trying to pass. But also they use English regular. In some schools, it's been advised that if the foreigners are much in the class, the instructor should use English. So depends on how many you are in the class.
The challenges you faced as a foreigner generally living in the Philippines, did you encounter any challenge here in the Philippines as a foreigner?
Well, yes, but not so much. They are not really a racist country to me, but there are some few who are maybe not exposed, or maybe they are just having general thinking, maybe because you're a black person, Some of them are racist, but not all. But once when I came newly, entering the transportation was a little bit difficult, because they do general behavior that when you enter the transport, they try to distance themselves from you. But even in that same transportation, you also see other Filipinos who will also speak against the other Filipinos while they are behaving like that. So it depends on the personality of the Filipino, his level of education and exposure.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for our viewers out there?
Well, my advice to the viewer out there is, for those aspiring to come to the Philippines, it's a welcome development. Yeah, the Philippines is affordable. If you are coming for, depending on the course you want to study, they have a high standard here when it concerns their education, medicine, nursing, pharmacy. Different courses, marine engineering. If you want to come to the maritime course, the country is affordable, the standard of living is affordable, and it's a nice place to live. The people are friendly, so you are welcome to Philippines. It's not what you see out there. Processing of admission is easy. You are always welcome. You can drop your comments here, we can put you through. So Philippines is a nice place to be. So you are highly welcome, and we would love to have you in the Philippines.
Alright, Mr. Stanley or Engineer Stanley, whichever one. Thank you so much for gracing our channel. Thank you for coming to your Street Nook. And if you have watched us up until this time and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, what are you still waiting for? Please do well to hit the red subscribe button, subscribe to this channel, turn on your post notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. Like this video so that YouTube can recommend this video to other people, and do well to leave your comments down in the comment section. Until we come your way or I come your way next time, please stay safe and remain blessed. Together we say bye.